right, we're continuing on with the review here. So use the bar graph to find the sets of speeds in which the percent of accidents is more than 20%. Okay, so more than 20%. So let's see, 20% is right there. All right, so more than 20% would be those two right there. So that would be what, 20 to 30 miles per hour and 30 to 40 miles per hour. Okay, that would be the set, okay? Because I want more than, what did it say, 20%, that's my 20% line right there. So these have more. How many subsets can you make given this? Okay, remember there's that formula, 2 to the k. So if there's 2 to however many elements, that's a number of subsets. So that's a good formula to put on your cheat sheet. So I have 2 to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 2 to the 5th, I believe, is 32. So there would be 32 subsets. You do not want to list them all out. Okay, that would not be fun. Let's see here. Okay, make sure you can do union, intersection, and all that. So union, remember, is like marriage, bringing it together. It's, you know, all my mom's junk, all my dad's junk, everything they have in common. You know, it's a lot of stuff. So you should get, it's an or. So again, it's hers or his or theirs together. So I have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the B is going to add what? 3, 4, 5. I already have 6, 7, 8. Okay. So it's basically everything except what? 9. So, you know, so there's 9 out here, but the things that they share. And again, if you want to draw this, you can draw it. What do they have in common? 3, 4, 5. So 3, 4, 5 is here. We'll say A is my mom's junk. So she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My dad shares some junk with my mom. 3, 4, 5, but then he has his own stuff, 6, 7, 8, and then 9, neither one of them has. So union is all this together, all shaded. Intersection, remember, is an and. That's only what they have in common. This is easy to get answers up here. This is hard because my mom and dad both have to share it. They both have to have it. This is what they have in common. It's the overlap. It's the intersection. So notice if you look at what they have in common, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. That's what they have in common, okay? And then not A means you take the universal set, which is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, you know what? I just noticed zeros in there. Julie, there's also 0 out here. Sorry, I didn't see the 0. So the universal set is 0 through 9. So 0 also, my mom and dad don't have those. That's in that outer part. So let me include that. So the universal set includes these. I want not A, so I have to get rid of 1 through 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is A, and I'm getting rid of it. So everything that's left is not A. So that would be 0, and then what? 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, and if you look at my picture, if I take away everything that's an A, you can see the 0, 6, 7, 8, and then the 9. I don't know why there's 2 8s, but there we go. Okay. All right, let's look at the next page. Okay, the shading kind, remember we can do paint by numbers. So instead of like saying, oh, set A has this and B has this or whatever, and there's your universal set. All right, so we're just going to look at this. Let's do this first. Okay, so let me figure out what not A is. Not A is 3 and 4. So I did the not A. I'm doing parentheses first. Intersect with B. B is 2 and 3. And remember, intersect is the and, which is hard because they both have to have in common. So what do they have in common? They both have a 3 in common. So the answer to that part is 3. Okay, so that's 3. Union with A. Well, what's A? A is 1 and 2. And again, union is or, like his or hers or both. It's like you put it all together. So this is easy to get answers because you're just combining them. So 1, 2, 3. So I would shade, 1, 2, 3. So if I drew this picture and I had to shade it in, I would shade the 1 area, the 2 area, and the 3. Now, sometimes that bothers people because they're like, but it says not A and you're shading A. Like, why does that happen? So think about genetics. Sometimes you have the genetic trait not from your mom, but from your dad. You know what I mean? So it might be shaded because your dad had it, not because your mom had it. So over here, like say A is your mom. All right. And so here, this answer is the 3, and that does not include any A. So that's from over here. But then you're combining it with A. So that's why 1 and 2 get back in there. It's not because it came from this side, because it definitely didn't. This gave you just 3, right? Because the not A was not included. But then you turn around and combine it with A a few minutes later. So that's why it's in there. It's not in there because of this side. It's in here because there. All right, let's do the same thing here. Where do A and B intersect? Again, that's hard to get an answer, right? So where do they intersect? Well, right there at 2. So the answer to that is 2. Very limiting. And then intersect with not B. So cover up B. What's not B is 1 and 4. Okay, now again, intersect is where they overlap. Well, 2 never overlaps with 1 and 4, right? Here's 1 and 4. 2's over here, like they don't overlap. So this is either the empty set or just air in a little curly thing. Don't put them together. Okay, that's not good. All right, let's look at this Venn diagram here. There are 30 people in a class. I asked them the following questions. Okay, so we have chocolate, ice cream, vanilla ice cream, and then both, and then not. Now, remember, if you add these up, you might, like this is what, you're like, okay, 25, but again, you have 30 people, and some of these people said yes multiple times. So it's a good idea to start with the both. There were 5 people that said they like both. Okay. So how many said that they like chocolate? Okay, so your chocolate circle is all of that. And so here's all my chocolate people right here. And 8 said yes, but do you see how you already have 5 in there? So you don't have 8. If you put 8 here, 8 plus that, that's 13, too many. So you have 8, so this has to be a 3, so that when you add it to the 5, you get 8. Because this is the 3 people that only like chocolate. Okay, this doesn't say do you only like chocolate, it just says do you like chocolate? Yes, I do. Okay, but I also like vanilla, so I would be in the middle. Okay, so like you add those 2 together to get the 8, so that's a 3. All right, do you like vanilla? 12 said yes. Okay, so your vanilla people, are, let's see, I'll use this. These are my vanilla people. I'll just polka dot it. All right, so all my vanilla people are in this polka dot section, right? But I already have 5 of them that I've counted. So how many people just like vanilla? Well, 12 like vanilla. They might like other stuff too, but together these have to add up to 12. So there's going to have to be 7 that only like vanilla, so that whole circle adds up to 12. All right, so I have 3 people that only like chocolate, 7 that only like vanilla, and 5 in the middle. And again, we usually don't put the plus sign. I just kind of did that to help you out. All right, so now how many people are here? Well, let's see, what is there? There's 8 and 7. There's actually 15 people that responded favorably either to only chocolate, both, and only vanilla. But again, those weren't quite the questions I asked, but I can figure that out now. Now, how many people just like vanilla? Well, the 7 are the people that only like vanilla. How many people just like chocolate? That's a 3. Now, how many don't like either? Well, then I have to go back to my total. I have 30 people total, and we counted 15 liking ice cream. So there are 15 people that are not a fan of either. They want chocolate, I don't know, something else, okay? They don't want that. All right, let's look at this review. And I did add a logic one because there was no logic on this. All right, so Roman numerals, and I don't have my chart handy with me, so that's not good. What you would do is you would break this into place values and break this into place values, and you would build the numbers, okay? Here I would probably, kind of divvy that out. And then, maybe this looks like it's 3,000 and some other stuff, right? And then here it's kind of like, ooh, at the end, it looks like I probably have something there. And then I kind of need to figure that out. All right, so I'm going to need my historic, numbers to do that. So we're going to come back to those in my next video because I know this is an M, but I don't have everything memorized, right? So we'll figure those out in a little bit. All right, let's do Babylonian and Mayan and so forth. Okay, so Babylonian are base 60. So you're going to, on your cheat sheet, I would have powers of 60. And this is 3,600, and this is 60, and this is 1. And when you convert, you divide and subtract to try to figure out, how many of each you have, because they do not have a base 10 system. All right, so I'm going to take, what is that, 4212? So I have 4212, divide by 3,600. And again, the decimals isn't going to make sense. So I have 1. So I can make one of those. All right, so then I'm going to subtract to see, what's left. And again, you can use a calculator. All right. Now I'm going to see how many 60s I can make. So I'm going to take 612, divide by 60, because again, they organize in 60s. And again, decimal does not make sense. So that's 10. And 10 sets of 60 would use up 600. There's 12 left over. So then you draw the picture. So like our My Math Lab, they tend to use these guys for ones and these guys for tens. These were probably more of like a stick or a nail and probably had a tail on them. And then these guys were more like a bird. You know, they kind of look more like a flying bird, but on a computer, these are easier. So a 1, these guys are 1s and these guys are 10s. So this would be a 1, a 10, and again, if you want to put the tail on it, you can, and kind of make this birdie looking if you want. And then 12 would be kind of the birdie guy, and then 2 tacks. So if you want to draw it like My Math Lab or kind of real life, either one. All right, if you're going to convert Mayan, again, you divide and subtract. And Mayan is weird because it's 20 and then 20 the first. And then remember, they didn't do 20 squared. They switched to 18. And then after they switched to 18, they go back to 20 again. Okay, so their place values were 1s, 20s, 360, and then 7,200. So kind of crazy, but you know, that's how they did it. All right. So again, I want to convert to how they group numbers. So we're going to start big. I'm going to take 7,200 and see how many of those, you know, we can kind of package, so to speak. So I'm going to start 8712 divide by 7,200. So they could have one of those. Again, decimal doesn't make sense. And so subtract 7,200. I'm going to use my calculator for that. 8712 minus 7,200. And I get what? 1512. Okay. So now I want to see how many of these guys they can make. And again, you want to start big because you don't want to have to repackage things that you don't need to. So I'm going to take my previous answer divided by 360. Remember, these are calendar people. That's 4. So again, I'm going to have 4 of these. Now again, I'm just going to take 4 times 360 to see what I used up. So 360 times 4, because the decimal didn't help me, is I used what, 1440? So that's 72 left over. Again, you can do that on a calculator. 20 goes into 72 how many times? So looks like 4 is too big. So 3. And then subtract 12. And then they're okay having 12s in a place value. But remember, they don't use these symbols. They use like finger, like a dot, like 1. And then like 1, 2, 3, 4, like they're pointing 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. And again, it would be a good idea to print that chart and bring it to the test. 1, 2, 3. And then 12 is a hand, and 2 dots. So it would be 5, 10, 11, 12. They kind of did hands for that. So this, and they wrote vertically. High up here, low down here. Okay. All right, we'll come back to Roman. All right, so on the test, I'm probably going to give you one to convert out of, kind of like our My Math Lab. So again, this is not easy because it's not base 10. You might be like, oh, this is 20 because they have those. This is 4, and again, they may or may not have the little things on them, so that's 4. And this is what, 31. But again, remember, you know, like if we have 1, 3, 6 to us, we don't just add those up and get 10. Like that doesn't make sense. We have 1 times the value. That's worth 100 plus 3 times 10 plus 6. Then we add it up to get the 136. Okay. So that's the same thing with them. So what is the value? So again, having those charts on a cheat sheet would be handy, having this one on there. So I know that my lowest place value is worth 1, then 60, then 3,600. So these guys are all worth 1. These guys are worth 60, and these guys are worth 3,600. So that's their value. The place is the number in the place, just like us. We have a 1, a 3, and a 6. But the value of it to us is 1s, 10s, 100s, 1000s, 10,000s. To them, it's different. And then you just have to add these up. So if you have a calculator that does order of op, you should just be able to take this in. 20 times 3,600. So again, there is one like this on the test. Plus, and what, 31 times 1? All right, so that would be, to us, that would be 72,271. Okay. Right, and then to us in Mayan, again, this should... Okay, I'm going to stop it there. I ran out of time for this one, so we'll talk about that one in the next video. And then I'll get my sheet of all the Roman numerals and stuff, so we can do those too.